Hello and welcome to Compositing with Beyond Typicals. My name is Sam Lytle. I am the founder of Beyond CAD Incorporated and the creator of Beyond Typicals, which is this software that you can use to drag and drop to create streets and other designs very quickly and visualize them in real time. In this episode, we're going to talk about compositing against drone photos. You'll see here I have Beyond Typicals open with the default project, and the first thing you're going to typically want to do is go to example projects and start with a blank. And then you go to render, photo compositing, and import your new layer. We already have this project created, so I'm going to go to load, and we're going to go to number 3. And you can download and view all of these projects, these Beyond Typical files, using a link in the description of this video, or you can also go to beyondcad.com and in the menu find example projects, so you can download and open these projects just the way that they are. When you take your drone photos, if you are the drone operator, you just want to be mindful of a few things like time of day, how the shadows are being cast. You also want to notice if there are any foreground elements. Sometimes those can be a pain, and sometimes those can actually be useful, as I talk about more in the foreground elements episode of the series. But once you get your photo, you import it in, and then you're going to want to build your project. And usually you'll want to build the existing condition first, camera match it, and then build out any alternatives or phases. You can find out more details in how to composite watching our how to composite video. Once you get the camera aligned the way you want, then you can save that here and save current camera, and then you can go back to it. You can also rename that camera as well. One thing I want to note is that the field of view here is showing 15, which is very tight. The default is 60. And the reason that I did that was you can go to assets and you can search for a power pole, for example, and then you can place it in here, and you'll see how it's very parallel to this existing pole in the image. But if I went and did field of view 60, which is the default, and then did my camera match, you can see that it's skewing to the right. And so this was just a little test that I used to see if we had the right field of view. And the field of view is going to make a big difference on the overall look and the look of the vehicles, for example. And then also you can use something like that to get your shadows correct. You'll see here this power pole in the back, the shadow is going away from it. And so you can go to environment and you can go time of day, and you could also pause the traffic if you need to get something similar to what you see in the image. Once you have the camera match, the existing model built out, the sun and shadows matched, then you can go ahead and build out other alternatives or other phases. This particular example has some construction staging, which is super useful, and you can use these buttons down here at the bottom. If you go to phasing, you can go to display floating phases, and you'll see how those show up right there as well. And then you can click through them. You'll see here we have kind of a resurfacing, and so in this scenario we have some pathway arrows, which you can click on the section menu and go to pathway arrows and turn those on, find the color you want, and then we shift the traffic here to an east closure and then a west closure and then the final condition. Once you're done, you can render out those as images or as videos, as seen in the wipe shown. Right, the next video is another drone shot, another rural freeway, and this one also has some shared use path elements here as well. You'll notice that this road needed to be extended out longer. You can do that by going to section length and extending out all the way to 1,000. The default is 100. The field of view here you'll also notice is 55, so it's a wider field of view than what we were showing before. And this one, we didn't need to build out the existing model. We just have one model, and that's used for the proposed, but you can always move it. And this one too, I have a foreground and a background. And so you can do that by going to photo compositing, doing background, foreground, and that's how those show up. And then I also, in this example, made a render and then brought it back in. And so you can do some cool stuff by rendering out a PNG and then bringing it back into the image and then just doing one final render, all of them together. Let me get my camera matched again, preset. And then another note too is you'll notice over here this power line, this power pole, it's in the foreground, and that's part of the foreground background. Sometimes you'll need to do that because if not, it's going to look really funny. If you put this image behind, for example, we go to foreground and we move that send to back. This is what happens. And like the previous example, you could make the bottom layers transparent, but we're still going to have that issue with the power pole. And so we want to use something like Photoshop or GIMP to crop out those elements and bring it in. And like I said, sometimes that's necessary, but sometimes it's also very useful to help blend the image together. It's going to trick the eye a lot more. This is something that's done in movies all the time. And then from here, you can go make image and video renders for your graphics, for your presentation, for your social media, public outreach, whatever you're using Beyond Typicals for. Once you have your final model set, you can, and you're going to end up with some very realistic results. All right, here's another drone shot. This is of a freeway, and this is a scenario where we have 2 lanes in each direction, but we would want to show how it would work if we widened toward the median, 1 lane in each direction. So we have this drone photo, and then I've again split that up into foreground and background, and by doing so we can again blend using this power pole right here, and then we also don't have to hide those layers below using a transparent texture. So let's go to our camera preset, and this is what it looks like. And I have some visual graphics here. We'll just rotate to show how those look. And also some labels as well. And so you can use all of these to better communicate what's going on in your project. From there you can go to render out either image or video. You want to pick the right output folder. You want to pick your resolution. I like to do the frames per second of something more like 60, so it's a little bit smoother. And then you can do your video length as well. This one doesn't have any alternatives or phases. This is just one image, one build of Beyond Typicals to communicate this proposed design. You'll notice too, we also have this cable barrier rail that we have kind of as a safety feature that we're adding as part of this project. All right, in this video, this isn't actually a drone shot, although it's the same principle. This is from Google Earth, and this is kind of a really cool example to show that you can use Google Earth to do the same thing. If you're not able to go and throw a drone up of your project area, you can use Google Earth. If you have the choice, I would probably suggest a drone just because it's going to be more realistic. In Google Earth, you have this crumpled paper look of trees especially, and you're just not going to have the same quality as you would with a drone photo. But Google Earth is so convenient to use that I know a lot of people want to use that. So we brought this in. Again, we have foreground, background as shown previous, and I have the model saved here below, and then I moved the camera, and this is how it turned out. Again, we're using some pathway arrows to communicate this proposed design. Here we're just doing some subtle striping and pavement marking improvements in this scenario, but we're able to communicate them in a very short period of time using Beyond Typicals and this Google Earth photo that we pulled right out of Google Earth. And you'll notice too, the foreground elements, we have pulled those trees so that they don't kind of tuck underneath, and it would look really off if we did that. One other note too, you'll see this tree, and if you look really closely, you'll notice that it's moving in the breeze. That is something that is done by design, and if you look carefully, we've got that tree and that street light way up here in the air. And we do that because we want the shadows, but we don't want them to appear in the frame. And so sometimes you'll need to pull that up, and you just do it by selecting here, and then you can go get your camera, and then you can move them up and down, and you'll see that tree is moving. And that's how you get those positioned. And in the next example, I'll show how we used even more trees on a drone photo to get something even more realistic. All right, so this example is a little bit more detailed, and I feel like the results turned out even better because we took the time to really pull the trees into the foreground and then place some trees for shadows. And it's also a really nice drone photo in the fall as well. So if you can, the better your photo that you're going to use for this, the better the results are going to be in your final renders. And you'll notice here, this is our existing model that we built out first, that we used for our camera matching. But we don't have the shadows here, and if you feel like something's off, that might be it. And I just want to use this as an example to show you're going to need to try and match shadows wherever possible, or else you're going to have this sort of scenario. Or you need to take your drone photos in a way where there aren't any shadows splashing onto the road that you're improving, or else you're going to deal with these issues. So here with the proposed, you'll see it looks so much better. And that's again because we have all of these trees that we've placed. And then once you place them, then you select the tree. You can go back to your preset camera, and then you can use these location sliders, position sliders, to get that tree in a different location until it's matching the way that you want. And not only is that important for the road surface, but also for the cars, pedestrians, cyclists, whatever are going to pass underneath that shadow. It's going to be a 3D experience. And actually, when I first did this project, I tried to just pull the shadows from the image and then use them as a layer on top. But it didn't work for that exact reason. You'll notice that if something goes under a shadow, it's going to go part of it first. You'll see this truck right here. That because things are 3D in real life, and that's the representation that we have here now, it looks much different than if we just had this shadow PNG that we tried to pull on top. And so those are just some tricks to make your project look better and really kind of take it to the next level with realism. You'll notice here too that I have some a stop bar here where they can stop at this intersection up here above. And in the section in Beyond Typicals, it doesn't have an intersection because we can't do intersections at this point, but you don't need to. You just need to make sure that it lines up with the edge of that video. So again, if we go to, the edge of the scene. And so it's just a really cool, subtle thing of vehicles stopping. It's telling my mind, this is real, this is what happens in real life, and we're going to, if we render out a video from this, it's going to sell the entire video much more. And so this scenario, you could render out an image, but I would really encourage doing a video as well to utilize that stop bar that we placed on that section. And to do that, you select it, you go to traffic, and you want to go to stop bar location. So if we wanted to move it back here, then now they're going to stop kind of in the middle of the scene, but we don't want that. And so that's why we moved it to up here in the front. So those are a few examples of compositing with drone photos. Again, there's a link in the video description to where you can download these actual BTIP files. If you're running Beyond Typicals, you can use them yourself. You can analyze them. You can reverse engineer them. You can always reach out to us on the contact us page on our website, beyondcad.com. And I will talk to you in the next one.